Students push for gun control in Tallahassee. There's a nationwide reckoning over how to stop mass shootings and violence. Bianna Golodryga spoke with 6 people directly impacted by gun violence about assault weapons and their place in society. The majority of the group owns guns. They shared their personal experiences and what they believe needs to happen to prevent deadly shootings. Bianna, good morning.
Good morning. It was an honest and at times uncomfortable conversation. 4 of the 6 people we spoke to own guns. Combined, they own at least 13. That includes assault weapons like the AR-15s, the rifles that we keep hearing about in mass shootings. The group consists of Imran Yusuf, a bouncer at a Pulse nightclub in Orlando, the scene of the 2016 shooting massacre. Christine Leinenen's son was among the dozens who died in that shooting. Austin Eubanks survived the Columbine High School shooting. He's a gun owner, but says he's not a gun enthusiast. Kobe Williams has witnessed gun violence throughout his life growing up in Chicago. And Kelsey and Toby Clark escaped the Las Vegas massacre, the largest mass shooting in U.S. history. Kelsey, incidentally, was 8 months pregnant at the time. Raise your hands if you own a gun or are in the market for a gun right now. Then how many guns do you own?
Many.
More than 10?
Yes.
And are any of them assault weapons?
Yes.
And you owned these weapons prior to Las Vegas?
Yes.
And your outlook on owning these types of weapons has not changed?
No.
Why not?
For us, at least, being comfortable with them is important. Just having them for defense in our own home is huge.
Austin, you survived the Columbine shooting. You watched your best friend shot, right?
I did.
Would you have thought then that nearly 20 years later you'd see 200, if not more, school shootings since?
No, I had no idea that that was what was going to occur.
Kobe, you've witnessed prevalent gun violence throughout your life growing up in Chicago.
I'm on the ground seeing this shooting and stuff every day in these communities. New York, Baltimore, Chicago, and on and on and on.
Christine, you yourself were a police officer. Kelsey, you currently are. And yet your views are so different when it comes to this topic.
I lost my son in a mass shooting. He should be mourning my death. It's not fair, and it was done because of an assault gun. We have to name it. He died with 9 bullets from an assault weapon, and he's only one of over 100 people that were killed within a couple of minutes. How long were you in labor with your child? And for them to die in split seconds. And so many, and we've lost so many. My son was killed with an assault weapon. What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do for me? There's nothing. But what are you gonna do for your own child, for the kids in Chicago, for other kids who are in high school? What are we gonna do for them?
I was the victim of a mass shooting that happened while an assault weapons ban was in place. And I'm not one of those people that believes that an assault weapon ban is going to solve our problem, but I do think that it can bring down the loss of life while we focus on the underlying issues of mental health. I'm not willing to accept that this is just the new normal.
And Kelsey, are you nervous about sending your son to school?
Yes, it makes me worry to a degree. As sad and scary as this is where we are in society right now, we don't have to stay here.
This is so frustrating for me is every time one of these tragedies occur, everybody fractures into one of 2 camps. It's either mental health or gun control. And I don't dig my heels in on either side of that debate. I think that the problem is on both sides. What I would like to see is significant funding put behind a nonpartisan group of experts who can actually study this.
The United States doesn't have a monopoly of mentally ill people. And yet this seems to be a uniquely American problem. What's the next step?
A lot of these things that take place, you got to be able to try to stop it on the front end.
Parents need to be more present with their kids. You need to be involved. You need to know who their friends are, what they're doing.
When it comes to gun rights and maybe any sort of legislation, what is the limit for you?
I'm open to ideas to fix the problems that we have. But when people just want to ban something just because somebody did something wrong with it, I think that's not helping the issue at all.
Yes, we can lock up major assault weapons, but what's to stop stabbings to come back up?
No, they're
I'm
not
a-
going to kill 49 people in 2.5 minutes with a knife.
Do you think Congress has done enough?
They've done nothing. In fact, they've been done worse. That's why we have to elect strong Democrats like Chris Murphy from Connecticut.
This is part of the problem, though, is that the whole conversation always gets politicized. The solution is
It is
not to
political,
elect
though.
strong Democrats.
It is political.
No,
It's
we have to-
Republicans that cause the problem.
We're,
We have to
we're
name
getting
it.
caught up
We
in
don't name
one
it, we're
small,
not gonna
small
solve
portion
it.
of this issue.
Toby, what do you think?
I don't
Is
believe-
Congress responsible ultimately?
It's on the people. I mean, in my opinion, gun-free zones don't work.
What would the ideal solution
I
to
am
mass
100%
shootings be?
okay with background checks, extended background checks, even a psychological test, even safety training.
Are you in favor of eliminating bump stocks?
Yes.
What do you think the solution is to live in a society where you have the right to own the weapons you own responsibly, and Christine has the right to know her son went to a nightclub and will not be slaughtered?
We're so far apart. You know, we're not going to do what she wants. We're not going to do what I want. We need to find a common ground.
As a high school student who witnessed a mass shooting, you see these students in Florida now really galvanize. Do you think that Parkland will be that event that changes?
I hope so. The activism that I'm seeing out of Parkland is truly inspiring.
They standing up. I mean, and I think more kids and more people around the world need to stand up, though, because if we don't keep sitting right here talking about it.
What is your message to the president and Congress on this topic?
Do something.
I think it needs to be harder to get guns.
Listen to the people, hear our ideas, hear what we have to say.
I'm just tired of the left, the right. We're pitted against each other, and it's sickening. We need to come together and figure out a solution.
As you can see, things got pretty heated during the discussion, and it's understandable how those frustrations carry on in Washington among politicians debating this very issue. But what you didn't see is after the filming stopped, each of those panel members gave each other a hug, and they all agree that change is needed and civil discourse is needed.
And the human connection they all share, regardless of how complicated this issue is.
Yeah, I want to thank them all.
Yeah, it was a great, great discussion. And I think what I heard from it was that even those who have a large number of guns in their home, including assault weapons, believe in safety. First and foremost, a lot of people who join the NRA believe in safety, and they do support additional background checks on those who have mental health issues and others.
Yeah.
That's a way to start this change.
I was very drawn to Austin Eubanks, who certainly has survived Columbine, but to say, this back and forth and politicizing it and just the anger on both sides doesn't lead to any changes. And it's interesting that the Clarks who have been through an assault rifle shooting are still supporting him. I'm surprised by that.
And I'm very happy we had Kobe there, too, as a
Me
reminder of
too.
what happens in inner city streets across the country on a daily basis.
Well done.
To be continued. Very well done.
To hear more personal stories from the group and how they are affected by the news of recent mass shootings, head over to CBSThisMorning.com.